Back for more conference finals tonight. Games 5 and 6 of the AHLPSN playoffs right here on LeagueGaming.com and the YouTube channel. Hi, everyone. TSibs with you. We'll be joined by Krok and Traz shortly as we get ready for these games coming up in just a few minutes. Some real interesting games last night we got to watch. Of course, that overtime win by the Thunderbirds over the Marlies, putting that series at 3-1 now in favor of the Springfield Thunderbirds. And really tough situation for Toronto to be in right now. And, with that going on, just the chance now for the Springfield Thunderbirds to close this out and really just make this an interesting series. Toronto with their backs to the wall, and so with this being the situation, I got a chance to talk to one of their defensemen, Barakov, a little bit earlier about this series and about the season in general. With Barakov here in the pregame show, Marlies and Thunderbirds about to start up Game 5, and the Marlies down 3-1, and Barra, that Game 4 last night, 2-1 overtime loss to the Thunderbirds. A tough one to handle for sure, but you guys played great defense, stopped them for really 3.5 periods, a really tough line with Cornecht and Twister. Even though you lost the game, there's some success to be taken away from a game like that. And is that something you guys talked about after this game? And what is basically the feel of the team? Going into Game 5 tonight, how do you guys feel going into it? Considering you had a good Game 4, you feel like you guys can stay competitive?
Yeah, 100%. It was a heartbreaker to lose. Definitely not the way we want to end Game 4 on a kick-in goal like that, as I'll call it. We played them as well as we could. I mean, it could have went either way. Both teams with the lucky goals getting to 1-1. And when you go into OT, you're always giving yourself the chance to have that unlucky goal go in. So tonight we're going to be looking to produce a lot more than we did in the past 2 games. I mean, 1 goal in the past 2 games is unacceptable. You don't want to be doing that against a team like this. But on the other hand, I mean, we're keeping their top line to only 2 goals, which is a pat on the back to ourselves. But, I mean, we can't be stopping time here to pat ourselves on the back when we know we got to be a lot better. We haven't been down in a series yet in the playoffs so far, so it's going to be really hard for us to bounce back here. But, I mean, we're confident with the 2 lines we're going to be putting out tonight. I have no second thought in my mind that we're tying this up and going to Game 7 tomorrow. And we'll be throwing out that Deer Hunter line to hopefully finish these guys off. I mean, yesterday they were riding really high on themselves. They were getting a lot of bounces. They were winning all the puck battles. We just we were never in the game at any point. It just seemed like we were chasing them and a lot like that. So we'll be coming out hot here and hoping to turn the tide a little bit in the series.
The team certainly started off really well beginning of the season, about mid-season. A little bit of a lull for the Marlies, struggled for a couple of weeks, but since around just before the trade deadline and at the trade deadline, you guys have been playing incredible hockey. Like you said, first 2 series you guys totally commanded. Do you think maybe that mid-season slump is something that might help you in terms of how to deal with adversity since you guys are down 3-1 in this series? You haven't had success all year long, and so maybe that slump helps you guys out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. Like you said, being down 3-1 is never easy. But, I mean, like in the better part of that downslide in the middle of the season there, we just started to question the guys that we were putting on the ice. And when you start to do that, I mean, you're not confident when you go out there. You're not confident, pretty much in any aspect of your game. But we realized going into the back end of that season there that we knew we had the group of guys that we wanted back on the ice, and we have no doubt in our mind that all 3 of our lines are able to put up W's in the playoffs, and we're definitely hoping it's going to be 2 more dubs again tonight.
And what do you think the Thunderbirds are doing well? Obviously, there have been a lot of puck bounces in these games, but what do you feel like they've done pretty well that you guys have to handle better?
They're not, like, hats off to them. They're not giving us anything easy. I'll give them that. Every single goal I've been a part of and I've watched, it's not something like you just dump in and get a rebound. Like, they're making us work for it, and then they're playing lights out on defense. I mean, I was watching the stream again today, and they're running a 1-4 pretty much, where they have the one guy pressuring our D-man, and then all 4 of their guys are stacking up on their blue line. So, and I mean, even when we went to the dump and chase, they were still beating us to the puck. So it's more or less just going to be about pucks possession today and controlling the flow of the game. Like, we don't want to be have like a push-pull type of game where it's back and forth. We want to be in control from the moment that pucks drop to the end of the game.
Now, what we talked about on Sunday before these games started up on our weekly show is that, one of the things I mentioned, I really felt like the Marlies defense has been as strong as ever this season. At this point, you've got several good pairs of defensemen now. It may have been kind of questionable earlier on in the season, but like you mentioned, moves were made, and guys like Suma were brought in here, and I feel like you guys and your defense has been pretty solid all season long. And you look at the series, and again, 2 goals, no goals in Game 2, 4 in Game 3, but then 2 in Game 4. The defense seems to be pretty strong in this series, and it may be the strongest part of your team's game right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good. Like, we've never had like a blowout loss so far in the playoffs, if you look back at them, which helps us a lot, because I'm not saying we're a fragile team, but when you lose 9-0, you start to question whether or not you guys can bounce back or not. But we've got solid guys back there. I mean, Suma and Sand, they've been playing awesome together. Looped and Crazy. Crazy got brought in because Looped, it was a buddy of Loop's, and we weren't sure if he was going to be able to play on the top line there with them, but he's been holding the zone and proved himself to be a very valuable asset later on in the season. And I mean, me and Just, it's been hit or miss with us, but I mean, for the better part, we're getting better. We're starting to communicate more, covering for each other. I mean, last game, I think it was our best game so far this year, just with the whole defensive aspect of the game. But I mean, we know we need to be better, and we know that you can't win games if you're going to be giving up these goals, and we're not going to settle for anything less than no goals against.
Hey, listen, Barrett, best of luck. Thanks for coming on today, and good luck in Game 5 tonight. And of course, being an ex-Marley, I'm certainly rooting for you guys, but good luck in the games tonight, and then good luck to maybe getting to a Game 7.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's a pleasure having you on this team this year. I just got a little message here for my guys going forward, trying to get them hyped up for the game. We got a great group of guys here. I've spent the better part of 2 seasons with most of them. And before I talk about these games tonight, I'd just like to express my gratitude and thanks and love to all my Marlies out there. I know I'm an asshole and you got to put up with the way I play, but the only thing I've ever tried to do is push everyone forward and play better. I know I can be hard on a lot of people at sometimes, but it shows on the ice when guys start to get their back pushed against the wall from me. They come out and show off their creativity on the ice. I'd like to thank Orioles and Fishy for bringing me into this organization and saving me from pretty much the rest of the league and giving me a chance to become the player I am today. I have no doubt in my mind, though, tonight we're coming back and there's going to be a Game 7 tomorrow.
All right, Barra, thanks. Take it easy, bud.
Yeah, you too, man.
Interview with Barakov there, and joining me now, Krok and Traz, and you guys got a chance to listen to that interview with Barra, and still has a lot of confidence in his team tonight and wants to see them show up. How realistic is it for Toronto to get back into this one?
I think they're going to need a win from their third line, that's for sure. I don't think there's any thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, they have to, right? If they don't, they're going home. So there's not going to be a Game 7 unless they get that win. And you know what? There's not going to be Game 6 unless their second line there can pull off a win against Quinnipiac and the boys. So the hill is definitely very, very steep. But you know what? That's why you play the games. Nothing's guaranteed, and they're going to go out there and have to prove that they deserve a Game 7.
Moose and the Rampage starting up right now. We'll try and get the other game going as soon as possible. But this one just getting underway right now. You see Arch Mangus in goal tonight for Manitoba in Game 5. So they'll get his second game in here. And then, of course, Game 6 will be Dr. Nasty, I would assume. We thank Arch for the feed tonight. Rampage trying to keep the puck in. Now finally Max will move out with it. Pass is errant. Dirt picks it up, flipped in by Dewar. Moose start out again. Snowy. Checked off there. Nice play by Boss coming in to help out. Back to the point. Killer with a shot partially blocked and then covered by New Jersey. Moose start up again. Hank. Clear in. Tries to get the backhander on, but NJ stays short side. Now intercepting. Quick shot again over the crossbar. Now Manitoba, good opportunity right there, and a follow-up by Max for the goal. Good play by Snowy to get in front of the net.
And great pressure by the Moose so far in this game. Moving the puck very well.
Max with the goal at 6:31 here in the first period to give Manitoba the early lead. And we've got the line of Dewar, Coaster, and Boss up front. Yachtsman, Dixter on defense. NJ's very own in net for the Rampage. Now the other way, Snowy on a break. Coming in. Misses on a slapper. Now the puck is loose and looked like Hank got a shot off and it was partially deflected but then went in. Might have been knocked in by the defender. But no, they're going to give it to Max, his second goal.
Not a great start by the Rampage here. Can't have breakaways going from pretty much center ice. That's rough in a playoff game, especially in such an important one.
Again, Manitoba controlling. It's been all their offense so far. Partial wrap attempt by Snowy gets covered up by NJ. Yeah, offense really all Moose at this point. Not much of an opportunity yet for the forward line of the Rampage. We've seen a lot of games like this, guys, where we see teams early on having to battle for a while before they get their footing offensively. Not sure why that happens a good deal. It could be nerves. But sometimes some of these teams take a little while to get going. Dewar picking up a loose puck, tries to wrap in the front. Good play there by Arch to stop it. Snowy. Now a good, I'm sorry, that was Coaster. And a good quick shot there. And a goal
nice
for
goal.
San Antonio. Looked like Boss gets the goal.
Good answer there.
Yeah, have to see what type of resiliency this line has after beating the top line yesterday. They really, you know, I think they think that they're going to come in here and get a win, so they're going to have to respond pretty quickly here, tie things up.
Yep, we saw Manitoba come back yesterday. We'll see if San Antonio can do it tonight from an early deficit.
Now back the other way, Max to Hank. Good quick shot. Pass back to Bob the Ostrich, and it gets off a nice shot. And Manitoba still controlling. Max has got both goals for the Moose tonight. Nice play by Hank to stutter step and get himself in front. Now the other way come the Rampage, but the pass back goes offside. good snapshot. Just goes wide by Snowy. Just feels like the Moose are getting a lot of open chances, guys. Not a lot of contested effort against their offense, and it's been all Moose in the first period.
Yeah, and the Rampage don't look as tight as they have in the first couple of games of the series. Like, you know, they really were tight in the first 2, 3, 4 games here, and in this game it's just been, you know, a lot of open chances, a lot of stuff coming from behind the net, a lot of cross crease passes. You're gonna have to tighten it up if you want to beat this line.
Get you over to the Marlies game in a second, as soon as we can get that up and going here. Second period underway here in this game, though.
At least it's nice to have a delayed start instead of having both of them run at the exact same time.
Yeah, I get a chance to watch a little bit of both games.
Yeah. I'm sure the players on the Thunderbirds and the Marlies don't feel that way, though.
No.
Selfish media team.
Second period has started over there, and they are at 2-2, Springfield and Toronto. So not shy with the goal scoring yet in that game right away. When we get a chance, we'll get you a shot of that one in a minute. Now back the other way again, Snowy for the Manitoba Moose. The Rampage starting back out again.
Defense there by Minnesota, not making it easy.
And it looks like the Moose are throwing a lot more on net, like, you know, like the more low percentage shots, trying to get the goalie involved in the game.
Yep, not a bad strategy.
Games are pretty close in timing here, so we'll get you a little bit of the other game. Power play now for Manitoba. San Antonio have drawn it to 1 here in the second period. Good quick pass and a nice shot. Just going wide by Snowy. Now backhander on Arch is held on. We'll switch you back. We'll switch you over to the other game now and get you some view of what's going on with this one.
He's bounced on you. Nice slot.
Fishy again with a wrap opportunity against him, but stops that one and will hold on.
All right. Keep shooting. Rebound, score eventually.
Toronto's in their own end and shifting gears. Loose puck, not stick handled well there. Great bad stop. He covers and holds on.
With the games in such close proximity, we're going to give you a chance to look at both of them right now as they are going on here, and give you a chance to look at both of them at the same time here. You see Springfield and Toronto on your right. The Moose still leading 2-1 in the game on your left, and now 3-1 on a great shot. Again, another good setup over there for Snowy. And he slams it home. His first goal, a power play goal. Max and Hank, as you see with the assist, and Manitoba now with a 3-1 lead. And now you just see Toronto scoring and going ahead 3-2 in that game.
It's going to be a close night tonight. And the Moose are playing a ton better. And the Rampage have just scored.
An answer right back for the Rampage. Coaster with the goal, making it 3-2. Boy, these teams do look like they're playing for their lives, basically.
Definitely a sense of urgency there.
Getting a goaltender's eye view. Krok and I might be the only ones appreciating this one. But those are our streamers tonight. About the same place in both games right now in the second period. Both 1-goal leads.
And we've got Red in the YouTube chat saying he's playing on 96 ping right now.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a problem.
Those problems have been plaguing everybody all year. It is probably the biggest complaint that we've had, other than the game itself having all sorts of issues. But you can live with that if your connection is good, if you're not having problems with ping all the time, and that just has been a big issue all year.
Yeah. And I feel for a goalie, you need to be able to move side to side rather quickly. So any latency there definitely creates problems.
Yeah, biggest nightmare. I mean, obviously you can adjust in other positions and get away with it. Nice save there by Arch, as you see that on the left side of your screen.
Sneaky wrap.
But man, you really have to have reaction time if you're a goaltender. And you know, luckily for me, I don't have that issue, but I've heard others who do. And obviously Red's got it going tonight and needs to play the best game he can at this point.
I'll say one thing, Krok can attest to it too, because we're both players who can play goalie and skate. It's much easier to play net with a bad connection than it is center. I'll tell you that right now.
I agree.
One or the other. Give me the 100 ping in net.
Yeah, my last season I was playing on like 50 ping every game. It was terrible.
Mm-hmm. Another goal to tie it up here in the waning seconds. The San Antonio Rampage with 2.2 have tied the game up at 3. Meanwhile, I think we had a disconnect in the other game, so they're restarting it. We're going to hold on to this game now until that one comes back. But it's not been as much of a defensive struggle as I would have thought it might be in this game. 3-3 after 2, and San Antonio with a late goal there. And they've beaten Arch a couple of times the same way. Those cross creases going the opposite way have been deadly for him, and I think they need to really be worried about that. It is incredibly tough for a goaltender to make that save every time, Krok. You know that as well as I do. Yeah. We've seen Arch make that save a couple of times tonight, but we've seen a couple go past him. It really is almost a 50-50 chance, really. And, you know, if there's anything that Manitoba needs to do, they've got to stop that opportunity coming across.
For sure, and as a goalie, the way I usually look at it is I got to stop 100% of the shots that I'm expected to stop, right, and at least 50% of the ones that maybe I'm not expected to stop, and we're going to get a win in that game. So Arch needs to start making some saves here on the ones that he's not expected to stop.
Yep, and as a goalie, you really got to rely on your defense to take away that pass. That's got to be their priority.
Arch controlling that one and flipping it out. Snowy tries to bring it in. It looks like we have a penalty coming up against San Antonio, so a power play here in the third for the Moose. The first good opportunity there for them in this period.
Penalty for number 28, 2 minutes for tripping. Time of the penalty, 1 minute, 47 seconds.
Snowy, some great maneuvering on the side of the net there. And we've seen that a few times over on that side of the net where it doesn't seem like, you know, Yacht is giving necessarily a lot of help, or is getting a lot of help down there to defend against that.
And
yeah, where's the defense there?
But at the same time, I think NJ's got to have that one. You got to stick on your post there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Don't get beat short side. That's one of those saves that you're expected to make as a goalie. Like, yeah, stop the cheesy wraparounds, but at the same time, you know, those walkouts from the side of the net, you got to be in position there.
Another goal.
Wow.
And Manitoba now up 5-3 as we've seen this one. Max with the hat trick now. This kid has playoff experience. He's been there before. and is a solid player, and he is showing it this season and this playoff. He's done very well. Wraparound attempt, and then a good save off the shot by Boss, and Arch was there with the left pad.
And if you're Arch right now, you just kind of got to forget about the rest of this game and just try and stop it from this point on forward. No sense in dwelling.
Yeah, a lot of good opportunities for San Antonio. Defense a little suspect on both sides tonight. Flip on net, good play just to try and get something going. Hank getting it on net, and NJ holding on to it. Now another shot, another save, good opportunity again. That time for Hank, but he couldn't connect. Now Snowy again tries the same play. Puck is loose, and NJ covers it. We've seen NJ. Again, this is a situation where if you're starting to lose a little bit of confidence in your defense, you start maybe moving too soon. That last goal was definitely, I think, a situation, the situation that happened there. Puck pushed down. It's an icing against San Antonio, and we are close to halfway through this third period. Goals have come pretty quickly in this one, so this is far from over. Hank, nice stop by NJ. Held his ground and moved when he needed to.
Big save. That's a big one. And the Rampage got to start getting zone time here.
Dewar controlling, gets it in front, and that time good play by Bob to stop any pass. Now again to the other side, and Dewar had the net open.
Just gunned it wide.
Boy, they are getting open here in the Manitoba zone. Another good opportunity the other way for the Moose. Now the Rampage start out, flipped in by Coaster. Killer gets it up to Hank. Now Snowy tries to find Max. He can't get it. Dewar tries to move out. A lot of players clogging up the middle.
And the Rampage are probably starting to look at the clock and realizing they need a goal here real soon, or else this one might be slipping away.
Manitoba gets it back. Offsides though. A lot of maneuvering in the middle in the middle zone. And again, I sometimes would prefer to see that puck go back to a defenseman and try and start things out again, spread it out.
Yeah, just a quick reset. That's a good point.
Not something you see a lot in this game, though. Forwards have the puck. They tend to go forward. They don't tend to go backwards ever.
True.
I think it has to do with... Oh.
And a good shot. Just Max getting the puck on the net and Snowy following it up. Just such a basic play.
And Snowy's been such a big game player in this one.
Yep. Really putting the team on his back.
Yeah, he really showed up this game for sure.
6-3 lead now for Manitoba as we get to the 3-minute mark here in the third period. And barring a quick comeback by the Rampage, the Moose are looking to take game 5 here. Max, good pass, tried to get over to Snowy. Good interception, though, by Yacht. Now, again, another pass to Max. A great glove save by NJ.
It's flashing the leather.
I'm noticing here in the Springfield game, and there looks like there's some connection issues. They went to the lobby and Springfield backed out. Looks like bad connection, so they're probably going to resend.
Not sure who was the issue in that game. Save there, blocker by Arch.
I noticed on Fishy's feed he was in yellow, so I don't know if he's East Coast and they're playing on a West Coast server or what the deal is, but there's definitely some issues going on there.
And what was the score when that game did drop out? Do we know?
I think it was 3-2, right? 3-2
Marlies.
Yeah. Marlies were up the goal.
Well, this one's got 20 seconds left to go in it. Manitoba on their way to a victory here. Good defense in this third period has held off San Antonio. The Moose figured it out for the most part. A couple of cross crease attempts, but good blocks by Bob and Killer to stop them, and the Moose will take Game 5, 6-3. And
Definitely
now,
a statement being with them.
Yeah.
yeah, now
definitely.
they look to try and close it out in Game 6, and for the West, it's going to be a chance for them to knock down a San Antonio team that's been a problem, but Ontario had the same opportunity and could not cash in. You see Max with the hat trick, 2 assists. Snow with 2 goals, 3 assists. A pair of goals for Boss on the other side, and it was mostly an offensive game. Arch 7 saves out of 10 shots. Only 10 shots, but 3 goals. So, yeah, defense really not the strong suit in this one. It was mostly a game of a lot of offense. 20-10, the shots on goal from Manitoba. So all of them on offense.
Yeah.
You see the time on attack, the passing, all theirs.
And fair play to the Manitoba management group. I think they got the right matchup in this game. Obviously, with the 6-3 wing, I mean, that's pretty obvious to say, but I think putting Nazi and Lobo against the quote-unquote top line of the Rampage was probably a good decision, because it puts them in a situation now that the Rampage team has to, and the pressure is completely off of the line that has been struggling to get the win, because they know they're also going to be able to go back to Brian and Bert in Game 7. So definitely heads-up play here.
And Game 6 coming up will be a pretty interesting one for these teams. The Moose more than likely are going to have now it's very obvious who they're going to have now, but it's going to be JMM, Nazi, and Lobo up front. And this line has struggled, guys. They know they've struggled. We've talked to Brian and some of the other guys, and they've been having a lot of problems with this line in the playoffs so far, but they've been able to get this far with it. Here's an opportunity for these guys to put the series away and maybe get some well-needed good feeling for this line finally. This Game 6 could be very important for the team in general.
Yeah,
get a little confidence back. They're good players. They have a good track record. So if they go out and put up a good game, that'll just spark them right into the finals.
Like I said, you get 2 chances now to end this series off and get yourself back into your 3rd straight final. I think definitely a heads-up play by that management team to kind of put themselves in that situation to not have a ton of pressure on them to get the win.
So we're still waiting for a startup of the other game, the Marlies and the Thunderbirds. We know the Marlies were ahead after 2. We're hopefully going to get that 3rd period going soon. They are still in the dressing room, the Marlies, so I'm wondering if Springfield needs some help here.
Yeah, I'll take a quick look at the management chat and just see what they're saying, see if I can get some inside information here.
And meanwhile, we're going to try and get some stats up for you shortly as soon as this game gets finalized. I know you guys got a chance to listen to Barra a little bit, and he talked to me a little bit today, and he wanted to come on, and he really wanted to have a chance to thank his teammates for bearing with him. He understands how much, and he said it himself, how much of a pain in the ass it can be. Even if you know that's the case, if you're one of his teammates and you understand that he pushes these guys and is pretty verbal and will get on his teammates here and there, even if he comes to you with that kind of thanks, how do you feel about a player like that on your team? Do you think it can be too disruptive, Krok? How do you feel about somebody like Barra, who is a talented player, but kind of takes over the party when he's in that game, and some guys may do well with it, some may not.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really depends on the team that you've had. Like, I've been on a lot of teams in LG in the past, and I think every team pretty much has a guy like this. When I used to play for the Wild, right back in the day, we had a few players that were like that. We called them coaches in the party, and, you know, it gets on your nerves on, you know, during the game, but you know, you're able to kind of look past it because one, you're winning, and two, you know, you got a good mix of guys who are all generally friends with each other, and you could just kind of look the other way. In a situation like this, you know, the Marlies do have some players, like we talked about K-Red and Prodigy before. And, you know, Fishy comes on here himself and he'll say, like, we just hope Barra shows up to games. Right. So I think that there's already been a little bit of that with the Marlies, just being like, you know, come on, man, you're an AGM of the team. We expect you to show up for games. And when Fishy says stuff like that, that just shows me that maybe Barra's not communicating with them, that he's going to miss games into the last minute. So in that situation, yeah, I'd be pretty pissed off myself as well. But it really depends on what type of team you have and what's the makeup. If you got a really young team, like say the Wild, for example, we saw them kind of unravel in this playoff last round. You know, then it's probably going to hurt you a little bit more than, say, having a really veteran team like, say, the Moose, who, if a guy doesn't show up, you know, they probably can look past it.
It's one of those things too, Krok, you mentioned it. When you're winning, you tolerate it. When you're losing, it's the worst possible scenario. It at times, if you said, you know, you don't have a veteran locker room there, it could completely unravel a team. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah. And just a quick note on the Marlies game. Last time I checked in this chat, the Marlies were looking for an ECU. It looks like someone's having difficulty with EA not letting them into the club. It looks like someone's PS4 had to restart. I think it was Suma.
Yeah, it's who they're talking about. Suma is missing on the right D, so it would be him.
Yeah, so at this point, I mean, now you got to defend a 1-goal lead and just hope the ECU you're plugging in last minute can do their job.
Yep, they're looking for a right D ECU, and that's the holdup here.
I mean, I hate to. Well, I mean, let's bring this up as a topic while we're waiting for this game to happen. You lose a player like this, and you have to ECU playoff game. Teams had a lot of chemistry all year long. What position, you know, obviously goaltender is on its own, but what are the other 5 positions do you feel like you could lose, have to ECU, and maybe be able to get away with it the best?
Personally, I think a winger. I think either left or right winger, but probably more of a left winger, because I think that's the least important position as it comes down to the 6. Just because a right winger sometimes needs to take faceoffs for a center if they take a penalty, or they need to fill in on defense if a defenseman takes a penalty. So it really helps your penalty kill when you have a solid right winger in there. So I would say least important left wing. You know, not to diminish our position that much, but like an ECU goalie, like I think most people will say like the elite goalies are elite, but the drop off after that, you know, pretty much everyone's the same, right? You know, most goalies make similar mistakes. There's not too much you can do when it comes to that. So, you know, I think grabbing a goalie, for example, on your TC and throwing them in a game, I don't think hurts that much. Especially if you have a good team that doesn't rely on your goaltending that much, right? Like if you don't let in a lot of shots, or, you know, kind of like the Rampage, like I don't feel like they really rely on their goalies that much. So probably for them, having an ECU goalie wouldn't matter as much. Not to say that either of those two guys aren't good. It's just the team, they play a team game.
Completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the winger is probably the best opportunity to, you know, if you lose, and I agree with you, left is probably the best to lose, only because, like you said, because of face-offs, and because, again, if you're killing a penalty, you know, you want your right winger is going to come back if it's not, you know, if it's a defenseman. So I think it's important to have a decent right winger, and of course centerman, just because of face-offs.
Yeah, center is key.
Unless you can find somebody. It's funny, a couple of seasons back with Hershey, we had Vish B, who was an ECU for us before everyone found out how good he was, and he was he came in to center for a very good line on our team, and just did tremendous work there, and sometimes that works out, but that's not a place you want to get a sub in.
That's a pretty good ECU. Good, man. That's an NHL player right now.
We got lucky.
It looks like the Marlies found the right D. He just hopped in, so they're probably going to send over there soon. We'll get this one started.
Yeah, ZTJ 2008. He has ECU'd for them before, so it's not somebody they're unfamiliar with and doesn't understand how to play with this team. So I think that's probably a good selection on their part. And if you're going to get somebody in to replace you, always good in the playoffs to not be trying somebody out for the first time. So it's a good place to have that happen.
So here's a funny part. ZTJ is actually a prospect. So I'm wondering if
illegal substitution.
Yeah, is that even allowed? Is my question.
I don't believe it is.
In the playoffs, I'm not sure. That's a good question. Is that only for?
The rule is you must be an amateur in order to TC, or in order to ECU.
In the playoffs, you're talking about.
Correct. Yeah. So this might be under protest if this.
That's a really interesting part. I'm trying to look and see if the playoff rules say anything about that. Illegal substitutions.
And do the rules differentiate between mid-game ECU or schedule an ECU? Because I know you can't schedule a prospect to start a game. Or is it any different to find an emergency mid-game? That's very interesting.
And it might just depend on the management team. Like if the Thunderbirds are okay with it just to get the game over with, then it is what it is, right? And that's a call I think you need to make as a management team. If no one reports it, then it might be okay, right? I'm sure the Bogs don't look at every single game that he's played. They really rely on us to self-police. So, interesting.
And trying to actually get a hold of somebody that we might be able to talk to about this rule and see if we can get some clarification on it, because it's a real good question, and I don't know how that works. So we'll try and get a Bog on or someone from LG to talk about it. Meanwhile, we're hopefully getting this game going soon on the other side. And while they do have their defensemen, it looks like the dressing room is still not totally put together yet for the Marlies. So that game, we may be here for a while calling hockey tonight unless they get this one going soon.
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly is going on here. I'll see if I can check in the management chat and see if there's anything being discussed out in the open.
They're talking about forfeits now. We'll see where this one ends up.
Wow. Well, that won't be good.
No, that would be a tough way to go if you're Toronto.
Andy, you're up in this game too. Like what?
Yeah,
that's wild.
Totally unfortunate if that's the case.
And Suma just must not be able to get in at all. Like I'm sure that's frustrating for him, just trying to furiously get back onto the game. It's not like he can't play the game anymore.
And Fishy has completely taken down his stream now, so.
Wow. And this is just really unfortunate as a whole that we have to even deal with this in the playoffs.
For sure. You hate to see it.
Like you wish that there would be a game created that doesn't have people leg out of it at all.
So you're positive that the substitution that the Marlies were trying to put in there is a prospect?
ZTJJ 2008 on site is listed as a prospect. He's played 3 games this season as an ECU in the AHL, and he has a total of 16 games in the CHL at total.
This season?
This season he only has 7 games.
Okay. And he played last season as well.
Sorry, he has 7 training camp games, and he has 4 actual regular season games.
Okay.
So even less regular. He's got 5 total regular season games in his career. So I would assume that he is still a prospect.
Yeah, if he's listed as a prospect, that's,
Typically, you can trust the site when it says he's a prospect, that he's a prospect.
Right.
Trying to get some and I wish I could see what the restrictions are here. AHL restrictions. AHL players, okay, cannot.
And just to confirm here, in the shout box,
yep.
Williams is saying 3-2 Marlies, leg out, and he forfeit. And Twister said, I didn't forfeit you guys. You guys did. So it looks like there might actually be a forfeit in this game.
So I just got
from what I was reading.
Okay.
Sorry, from what I was reading in our shout box, they were saying, Twister was saying that the Marlies were not responding to any messages coming from the Thunderbirds.
Really?
So I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what was being said. We were trying to figure out what they were doing, and they were not responding. So
yeah.
I got a message back from LG McDonald. So the AHL restrictions do say prospects cannot ECU to the AHL during the playoffs.
Yeah, so I mean, it looks like they had a prospect going. I think Orioles definitely looked at that and realized it happening, and they couldn't get anything together. And they're all saying good series now, and
wow,
the shit talking begins. But it looks like it's over for the Marlies.
Wow, that's a shame. That is a tough way. Now, if Suma couldn't get back in, couldn't they have just created another club and done it that way? That's been a problem that's happened once in a while. We've seen it happen for a couple of seasons.
Honestly, I don't get why they don't just reschedule it for after the next game, and let's give Suma the entire next game to get a connection back. Like, can you not just postpone the replaying of this final period? Like, it doesn't make any sense to just forfeit. I don't get why these like Twister seems like he is willing, or he was willing to wait longer, and it looks like, according to Twister, it looks like Orioles kind of pulled the plug on it all.
Wow.
And like, I mean,
it's one of those things where you're a manager and you're just frustrated at that point. I've been there, and you're looking for a TC and you can't find any, and you're just pulling your hair out and frustrating. And I guess, maybe emotions getting the best of him here.
That's an absolute shame. Wow. So I don't know now, is that something that they can agree upon to do, or is that something that I don't know how the league wants them to handle something like this.
I would not. I don't understand why you wouldn't reschedule it. And Twister's telling me, I'm just talking to him in the show box. He's saying you can't reschedule it. I don't get if both managers say it's okay. I don't get why you couldn't do it. It's not like anybody can take an advantage. Like they're locked in, and it looks like it's an availability thing for the Thunderbirds specifically. But like, I don't get why you would just forfeit. Like, this seems like a little much. Like, it's kind of outrageous that a team's season needs to end because no one's willing to reschedule. Like, play it in an hour or play it right after the next game ends.
Wow. Yeah, they're looking to play that next period, but even Twister's saying he's not available till Saturday, whatever that means. If he really is, then that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's hard for me to give an opinion here, an unbiased opinion, because I'm a part of the team and I'm happy if this is the case. We're in the finals, but you hate to see it end this way. You obviously love to play the game out, but I mean the rules are in play for a reason, and this might be a hard one to dispute if you're Toronto.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out what exactly is going on here. It's looking more and more like nothing's going to come of this. That the game will be over, and it's a shame. Toronto played hard, and they were doing what they could in this game to stay alive. It was going to be a tall order. I mean, let's face it. They would have had to, if they got past this game, and had gotten themselves to a Game 6, they would have taken on the I, Apparition, and Trade Me line with Horror and 72 back on defense and Twixter. And that would have been a tough one for Fish, Morris, and Sab. And then, of course, if it got to a Game 7, it would have been, that same Kornick line, I'm sure, back there. You still have to go up against Red Raider. So, again, not impossible, but it was a really tall order for Toronto to win 3 straight and come back and win this one. So, really, really interesting how this is working out. Wow, okay.
Yeah, that looks like it's it then, huh?
Yeah, I think so. And we would have liked to have tried to get Fishy on, but he is, as you can understand, not happy about what's going on today.
No.
So
I don't think that's smart of him to jump on at this point.
No, yeah, it's probably a good idea that he doesn't. They can't get an ECU, and they can't get Suma in that room. So sad that with 1 period left to go and with them having a 1-goal lead, they couldn't finish this one out. You work so hard all year long, and it comes down to this.
I mean, go to a pin lobby, throw the pin in, and play the final period. Like, just play it at least. Like, it's just wild that there's just okay, it's a forfeit now. Like, it doesn't seem like there's any direction to getting this game played right now. It just seems like, oh, it's it. That's okay. And I'm sure being a Thunderbird, like, that's fine. But I just, for the rest of the league, I just think you just got to play it at this point, right? Like, do anything, right? You got your picture. You should have taken the pictures when the lag out happened. Go ahead and go into a pin lobby and just enter the stats manually.
So Suma couldn't even get into EA is what I'm hearing. So that's incredible. How does that happen with a period left to go in a game? I do not understand how that can happen. That's really weird.
And does the league look to maybe change the rule in the future to prevent something like this happening? It's a shame that you only have a limited amount of ECUs during these playoff series, and a lot of guys are not prepared to play, so they're not going to be around. And that looks like the problem that the Marlies had. They couldn't find a single player to get it in and play. So that's it's unfortunate, like we said. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's rough. Like, the fact that we have prospects on the TC at all, you're only allowed to use them during the regular season, and I get why. Right, mm-hmm. They don't want people signing up with second tags or whatnot, or right. Guys not playing in the CHL just to wait for an AHL shot, kind of thing. Right, but it's
we
rough.
did see, and I think we all saw that, and we mentioned it. We did see that one time where they all did get back into a lobby, and then Springfield, I guess maybe a couple of guys dropped out, so maybe they lost connection. I don't know, but there definitely is some kind of connection issue that all of a sudden just started plaguing these guys. And man, with all the issues we've had with PlayStation, with this network, with this game, this is why it's so hard to have competitive leagues with this game, because it is just not stable like a lot of the other games are.
Yeah. It's rough. And like they're saying now with the new esports leagues coming out for Versus, they're saying that this is a esports ready game. And I can't see it. Yeah. I can't see it with at least the non-LAN type tournaments or leagues like this. It's not, right. The servers can't handle it, or it's easy to blame the servers if someone's internet is not up to par. I've had internet issues on my end be a situation in past seasons, and you can't expect everyone to buy the best internet or have fiber, right? But it's really tough. Like, anytime you're going to play online, you're going to run into issues like this. And if I were a GM, I would want to make sure I have guys to 2 or 3 guys on standby every night for my TC if possible.
You almost have to, right?
Yeah, just touching base with guys. Just touch base with them. Be like, hey, if we need you tonight, how can I get a hold of you, or are you willing to play? And it's just getting these non-prospect TCs, if you'd want to call them that, amateur or veteran, just having them ready to go, and having guys that maybe they signed up as a D-man, but they're they can also play multiple positions. Like they could play forward if you needed them to, or they could play goalie in a pinch, right? I know that's something that I would be good at if I'm shitty enough to be on a TC, but maybe if I sign up for defense, I will be someday. So it's important to have those versatile guys, right?
Yeah, and that's why you see so many management come trade deadline and even before, just trying to stockpile amateur, veteran TCs just to prepare for this exact situation.
And just off the top of my head, thinking of, and I mean, this is a one-time situation, really. I don't think we've really seen anything like this before, so maybe a rule change is maybe jumping the gun a little bit, but you could have a rule that says a team can use a prospect ECU one time in the entire playoffs to stop something like this happening, or using prospect ECUs in situations exactly like this where someone cannot connect to EA after the game has already started.
Right. I can see them maybe implementing something like that. Like,
it's just hard to police.
Exact situation, because you don't want to see this. You really don't.
And they had a guy, it looks like they had a guy ready too, which is the worst. Or maybe just getting like having a bog on standby, like saying, like, let's use LG McDonald, who TSibs was able to get a hold of pretty quickly, and just be like, hey, here's the situation. We have a guy who can't connect to EA. Do we have written permission from the league to use a prospect ECU? The other management team has agreed to it. Right. And then just letting it happen. Right. Like, I don't think that the Thunderbirds management would have been opposed to that. I think they're all good guys on the Thunderbirds team. I think they would have said, for sure, use your prospect ECU, and then you use them, and then it's done.
Right?
And then you play the
there's
game.
Nothing to talk about.
Yeah, that's it. I guess what you're saying is something that I would love to be able to do, which is to be flexible with how the rules are, where the Bogs or LG McDonald can get involved in something like this and say, look, we can either go by the rules and have the forfeit and have the series end this way, or we could take this free competitive league, and it's something that really we're doing just to be competitive, and try and play the game one way or another, and not let it get to this point. I understand it's the playoffs, but I agree with you guys. You have to do whatever you can to get this game played. I felt that way in Season 5 when the Moose took a forfeit win then, too. I think you wait. I think you play the game. It sucks to have that happen, but we all don't have, $1,000 riding on this for a league win, right? So just play the damn games. We're not making a living on this, right, in this league.
And on the other side of things, there's a devil's advocate here.
Sure.
I got a kid, right? If I'm playing a 10:30 game,
right,
I want to be done by 11:30 at the absolute latest, right? Because I don't want to keep my kid up all night long.
Sure.
So if I'm sitting there waiting for some dickling who's working at a McDonald's with his laptop and his PlayStation, and I got to wait for him to finally connect to EA, and it's keeping my real life in the balance, that's a tough situation. And it's just playing devil's advocate, because I do want the games to be played as well too, but there does need to be a limit in place. And I think that's why the rules are the way that they are.
Yeah, again, you're right. I mean, there are arguments on either side, and that's why I think it's a case-by-case basis. Look, if they, say they did come to an agreement about doing something, and one or two players had the same, pose the case that you just did. Again, who do you sacrifice, and who winds up, giving up something on this one? Obviously, if you're the one who first has the issue and you can't find the solution, then too bad, but that's the way it is. I'm hoping that everybody is flexible, that they do what they can to try and play the games. But of course, things do come up. I also think at times guys say, hey, I can't stay past this time, or I can't do that. Part of that reason of that forfeit back in season 5 was that Dreamy was in a FIFA playoff that was happening in a few minutes, and he couldn't stay any longer, so he had to leave. Again, there are all sorts of reasons why you can and can't play the game, and you try and make every effort to be there. If it's a playoff game, I think you really have to make that the priority of any other leagues you might be playing in if they're not in playoffs as well. It is just such a case by case and player by player situation, and you try and make it work. And if you can't make it work, it is what it is. But you have to go back to the rule and go by the rules. So yeah, I mean, I see both sides of it. I just hope everybody tried to make an effort to get this one played one way or another, and that this came to an ending because there was just no good solution for it.
Yeah, and ultimately, majority of the guys, they do want to play, and that's what I see coming, when I'm playing and talking to the guys in the league. They want to get these games in. They don't want to forfeit. What else? We're playing the league to play these games, right? We're in the league to play these games.
Sure.
You love the competition. You don't want to go out like this. So I'm, speaking on behalf of my team. Like you said, they're all good guys, and they probably want to play the game. You don't want to win on a forfeit, and that's just I'm speaking on behalf of the league. Majority of the guys I've come across, majority of the people, they want to get these games in. So,
well, I don't know what else to say about this situation other than it's unfortunate that it's come to this for this series. Could be worse. Could have been a game 7.
Yeah,
and then there would be hell going on in the box, much more than there is now. So,
and you know what? That might be the case. It might be the case that they might have already felt. Well, not all of them. I don't want to speak for them, but you're down 3-1. It's a tougher pill to swallow if you're in a game 7 and this happens than down 3-1. I'm not saying that's the case by any means, but yeah, it's unfortunate.
And I mean, I'm just spitballing here now at this point, but it would be nice if the Marlies maybe could have used one of their roster players from the next game, and then they would have bought themselves 40-ish time to find an actual ECU for the person that they've basically burned to finish a game and to get a win in an important playoff game, right? Because then that basically would cancel out both of those 2 roster players' availability or maximum games for that playoff series. So it's just there's a couple things that could be done. You just need to have the flexibility to do them, and like I said, maybe having some sort of, and this really goes down to our bogs being engaged all the time, and not that they aren't. They have a ton of work to do, but having someone on call for the PSN side, let's say, and in situations like this, there is a pager system, and you can bring them into a voice chat either on Discord or on the site or whatever it would be, and just explain the situation and have them make a ruling on the spot based on the rule book and based on what we've done in the past to be able to get this kind of stuff done.
Yeah, I mean, you
figure.
So go ahead. Go ahead, Traz.
I was gonna say, you figure, the management team here with Toronto, they know the rules, so they're not thinking outside the box. They're not thinking, hey, let's grab a roster player and ask a bog. They're scrambling. All right, I need to find an ECU. I need to find within the rules. They're not thinking because it's just one of those mindsets, and looking on our side, it's a lot easier to say, hey, this is important. Let's do whatever we can, play it, and then, we'll figure it out. If we have to forfeit, at least we got the game in and whatever. But, it's tough in that situation where you have no time and you're feeling pressured and, you got all this going on. And it's just one of those situations you hate to be in as management.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. It's not something that you want to have happen in the playoffs, something like this. But yeah, I mean, you try and You know, I can't talk to what Fishy did to be ready ECU wise for this. But you know, obviously for playoffs, you have to be able to have a couple of guys and just say, look, the chances are, you know, 99% you're probably not going to play it, but we need to know if we can count on you. You just need to say that. Look, just be on Discord. You know, we'll be on with you, and I'll let you know one way or another if we're going to need you or not. And if not, I'll let you know as soon as possible. But, you know, we may need you during the game. Be ready for that kind of deal. I mean, just to be able to have a couple of guys, and you've got to cultivate that while time is going on. You've got to do that during the season. You've got to be able to have these guys, to know that they're available, and to keep in contact with them so that you know that they're going to be there for you when the time comes. And the other part of what you guys were talking about is, again, I don't know what the league has done. There may be Bogs who are on call tonight. I don't know. I don't know if the teams tried, if the Marlies tried to contact somebody, or if they just didn't. Whatever the case may be, I'm hoping that for the playoffs, there is at least one Bog on the PSN side who is on call for the conference finals. There are 2 games going on. It's not a lot to handle, and I'd want to believe that there is somebody who is on call and ready to answer questions and figure something out if something like this happens. I'm hoping that's the case. If it isn't, then I hope to God LG remedies that because, again, I know AHL is shorthanded on Bogs right now, but we get to this point in the season and people have played for so long, and to not have somebody available, if that's the case, on LG's side to make a call on something like this, if that winds up being the case, they've got to change that.
Yeah, you're 100%. For sure.
I just don't know if they did that. I mean, I'm prefacing that, you know, everything I just said by
we don't know.
We don't know what they did and didn't do. Hopefully, you know, maybe we'll find that in the next day or two. I'll try and get some information together, and maybe we'll wind up talking about it on Sunday's show. But yeah, it's tough to get this far and to not be able to have something figured out. I'm hoping that maybe they went through Bog or somebody from LG and they got an answer. We just don't see that coming through on the shout box right now.
And on Toronto's end, they have 3 guys in their management, right? So you figure, you know, you're not going to rely all on one guy. That's why you have, you know, help. And, you know, when I was in management, I would always have at least one of my managers being in constant contact with the TCs, just, you know, for a situation like this. And you'd hope, you know, it's not all on Fishy right here. You know, you hope he's getting help from his other 2 guys, but
sure,
I don't know.
And I mean, it doesn't need to be all the time, right? I mean, we are short on Bogs, yes. Hopefully that doesn't happen in the future, but you know, it's just for the playoffs. Just have someone around, and you know, we don't know what the Marlies management did. We don't know what the Thunderbirds management did to try and remedy this. But the fact that we don't know means that there probably should be a process for it, a written process saying, like, if you have a problem, get into a voice chat with the manager on call for both teams and talk it out. No back and forth with text, no submitting submitting an action center request. It needs to be immediate, right? You got to keep everyone's time. So just, you know, our Bogs are in the Discord chats in terms of the management groups, you know, just going into a private room, just like we do on the and have a quick talk about it. Get something down in writing.
Something.
Yeah, something, anything, anything at this point. Like this is crazy. And how many seasons we have to have shit like this happen before? And I mean, they're all different scenarios, but like we gotta figure stuff out.
Hopefully we can get some more hockey coming our way soon, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Manitoba is setting up in their challenge room, challenge club right now. They are the home team. When they are about ready to send, we'll switch over, and I'm hoping that soon. Meanwhile, it is. We talked about everything else, but the fact that Springfield is moving on to the Calder Cup final now for the second season in a row now, and with with what I think overall is probably a better team, simply because I think they just gel a lot better as a whole team, and Raider is solid in net, so they may not have had much of a chance last season against the Moose, but should Manitoba get back there, we may have a rematch on our hands, and that might be kind of interesting to see.
And me personally, I get to play a little bit more hockey.
Yeah, that's huge. And I'm just wondering, since this forfeit happened, does my prediction of Thunderbirds in 5 hold up? Because I'm pretty sure I was the only one who said Thunderbird in anything closer than 6 games, if at all. A lot of people thought this was going to be the Marlies series. Just saying.
Dr. Nasty is having fun with the other side as we're getting ready to bring you this game live here. About ready to start up, as you see. It is Game 6, San Antonio and Manitoba, with the Moose ahead. 3-2 now, and live action about ready to start. JMM, Nazi, and Lobo up front for the Moose. Pitcher Swag, Jay Layden back on D. Dr. Nasty and net. On the other side for the Rampage, it is Perfect Skills, Grammy Hands, and Saucier up front. Full Throttle and Buffalo Mick on defense. And I believe Scape is in net. We'll have to double check that.
It's gut check time for the Rampage. Let's see what this top line can do.
And right away, good opportunities for San Antonio. If you learn anything from what the Moose did in Game 5, get shots on net. I mean, that's, if you're a manager, you probably scream that at your players all the time, but get shots on net.
It doesn't happen enough, especially with the players who, deem themselves as good, right? There's a lot of perfect passes and trying to make the nice play and not score those quote-unquote shitters.
Yeah.
People really get away from it.
And that's something I had to do in Game 1, just throwing the first goal I had. We're down 1-0, and it's you're in desperation mode.
Breaker on. And
Save.
Nazi almost getting a good opportunity there on a break and couldn't connect.
Oof.
Yeah, I had to pause for that little breakaway there. But yeah, I just threw a shitter on net and caught him 5-hole. And we tied the game and took the momentum. So, I mean, sometimes it's just getting the puck on net. Playoff hockey, change your game up a little bit.
In my last full season as an AHL center, 45 goals, all of them were shit. Not a single nice goal. All I did was shot corner boards.
Just get in front of that net and get that garbage.
Yeah.
NJ's very own is in net for the Rampage in this game, so that was a late change.
And he's going to have a bounce back game in this game, that's for sure, because he played the previous game, if I'm not mistaken.
And this may be the full line, the full 6 who were in Game 7 in the last series. Pretty sure, yeah, I know it was Skilled, Sauce, and Grammy, and I think it was Throttle and Mick on defense. So this team has been clutch, this lineup. We'll see what they can do in Game 6 here, keep them alive.
And if they do stay alive, you'll probably see them go right back in Game 7 too.
I was just going to say that, yep. These are the big game players. These are the guys you've been relying on all series, all playoffs.
And how much...
So I'm sure... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, how much, if San Antonio can pull this one off now with this line and come back in Game 7 with it, how much is that going to be in the head of the Moose to say we could have won it and this line stopped us and now, have a chance to stop us again?
I think you're going to see different players in that Game 7, especially on the forward side of things for the Moose.
Sure,
I think you definitely see Burton Bryant, so those guys are hard to rattle. But for the defense, I think maybe all of the defensive pairings have lost a game for the Moose in this series so far. So if I'm not mistaken, maybe not. So it'll be interesting to see who they throw in on defense.
Mm-hmm.
I would think it would be pitcher Swag and that pairing for sure.
Corey quick to remind me on Discord that the Checkers went to the finals last season. Look, I'm old. Some of this stuff just is slipping right through my mind every season. I remember. I'm looking to remember what web address to go back to every day.
The fact that you just called it a web address is enough in its own. We'll just leave that. We'll just leave that be.
That web thingy that you kids like to use.
The World Wide Web.
Oh God, it's all passing by me very quickly.
Oh God.
I have
like I was gonna say, it seems like just yesterday I was in the finals with the Checkers back in season 3. How long ago was that now, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's and that was an interesting series too. That was a lot of fun.
That was fun. I think Krok was a part of that playoff, right? You were with Iowa.
I was just about to say, I'm pretty sure you and I went head to head in the series.
Yeah. That was an unbelievable season. We ended up winning 3 Game 7s, and my line went undefeated in that playoffs, the whole playoffs. It was pretty remarkable. Yeah. A lot of fun.
Yeah, we did 7-game series.
I try to forget season 3 because I was AGM with Broski on Tucson. And
that's right. Yeah,
it was a brutal season. So that's the one thing I can't forget. Sadly, good wide angle shot, and somehow Nasty able to hold on to it.
Nasty did not react to that shot at all. I thought he was dead to rights there.
You know, I saw Fish do that in one of the early games in his series. Evil Destiny had a problem with that in the overtime game yesterday as well. So I don't know, Krok. I feel like something is I feel like the goaltenders are getting stuck on the side again. Something we saw a couple of releases back, but I feel like goaltenders have been having problems getting stuck again.
I think it's when the puck goes through your pads like that, to be honest. I feel it sometimes when the puck zips through my crease and it goes between my legs, right, and out the other side. I feel like I can't once that happens. So I'm not sure if it's like the animation not kicking in and just freezing your goalie in place, because that does happen in multiple different situations as a goalie, but it's tough. I mean, at that point, I'm just pressing any desperation save I can to try and get over to the other side of the net.
Well, no score here in the first period, as you see right now, between Manitoba and San Antonio. 5-1 shots in favor of the Rampage. Look very tentative here in this first period.
Yeah. Playing not to lose, but not playing to win the game. Not quite yet. They're just feeling each other out this first period for sure.
And again, we mentioned how this line of Nazi, Lobo, and JMM, a lot of experience in those 3 players up front, and for whatever reason, a lot of speculation and a lot of people saying some ignorant stuff in the shout box about this line, but it is a bit of a mystery, but hopefully they've got the poise and the knowledge of how each other plays to get out of this, and we'll see how the next 2 periods go for them.
Andy retreats back from center ice. Gains the blue line. And possession snapped up by Mick. Nicely padded away.
We're letting Doc and Eddie do the call for you here. Since Nasty has not turned that off, but that's okay, not a problem.
Taking our jobs.
Yeah, well, we'll talk over them while they're doing the call. We'll just casually call this one.
So, new idea. We're just gonna have some preset sayings that we say when random things happen in the game. A man.
A point hammer shot.
Paddled away.
As long as you don't talk about a woman from Shawinigan, we'll be fine.
A young blonde from Shawinigan caught it in the stands. Wow.
That's not PC anymore, is it? That gets you in trouble.
Yeah, that can get you in trouble. That's assuming gender. You don't want to do that.
Oh God! Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started.
And it looks like the Moose are coming back to hockey. The Moose is starting to get a. Ooh.
Yeah, we'll see what NJ may have learned from that first game and how that line was moving the puck. And I would want to believe that Nazi, Lobo, and JMM would try and do the same thing.
Yeah.
Ooh, good shot on net, partially deflected, and now Nasty covers it up.
And much like we talked about yesterday with, I believe it was this game, yeah, when they were facing Kornak, I think it's the same thing with this Manitoba line. Just win every period or tie every period. Don't go too stretched that it's nothing. You know, just get period at a time.
Right.
Methodically, right? Because you're not playing well, right? You know that. Everybody knows that, right? We've talked about it a lot. So just get through the period and try and get some shots on that and stuff like that, right?
Lobo looking to get it behind for JM. Now Nazi has it. And really clogging up the middle. There's, again, not too many opportunities for them to make passes.
And all three forwards there on Nazi when he cut to the middle there. All three of them to get the puck off of them. So that's it's definitely great to see on the defensive side.
Finally getting to see some more opportunities for San Antonio. But now the other way comes JM. Can he be clear? Tries to get a backhander, but can't.
Yeah.
Big poke check.
You hate that as a forward when you get caught from behind like that, not even getting the shot off.
And good job to not trip him.
Yep.
There's a much different defensive play here on the side of San Antonio because Throttle and Mick are really not allowing any dirty, corner of the net, come from behind the net and wrap it or short-sided or whatever. They have protected that well for NJ.
Yeah,
yep, that's where it's good to be defensive, good to be aggressive, I should say, as a D-man and rely on your center to fill in the slot area and go and disrupt them in the corners.
I mean, this almost plays into the hands of San Antonio. It's their kind of game, low-scoring, defensive, not anything flashy going on, and they've got Perfect out there who can put a goal in at a moment's notice. Under a minute left to go in the second. Still no score. Good play by Layden to block that pass off.
And just really quick, we talked about presence. We talked a little bit about presence with goaltenders. This defensive pairing is a presence on the ice right now.
Absolutely.
They look great. They look so confident in their offensive zone with stepping up on pucks at the blue line and just controlling it. And sometimes you see guys panic when they have a forechecker come on them, but these guys look just cool as a cucumber right now.
I've played a lot of games with Full Throttle, and you know what? To his credit, he's always played like that. That's one guy you can depend on. He's not going to force anything. He's not going to turn the puck over in his own end. He's just, like you said, smooth as can be, and that's the guy you want to rely on in a big game like this.
Yeah, he's been their stone, like their rock this entire playoffs. Like 2 Game 7 appearances. Get through this game, you almost guarantee he'll be in that unless he's not available. He's been huge.
It has been superb, but no goals have been scored. That puck's loose, defended away by
Start at the third period now. Manitoba getting an early opportunity here.
And like almost complete opposite games of the game we just watched with these two teams. Really close defensive, not a lot of chances.
Yeah, you're right.
through the neutral zone, skating with it now. Good job with the poke check.
Oh.
Comiskey. Pitch back into the corner. Puck loose because of that hit. He banks a pass ahead. Nice stand-up poke check there. That's a
Holding on to the puck. Nice play there.
really makes himself look big.
Just busting right through.
A little under 4 minutes have gone by in the third.
And Perfect skills who very good puck handler, very quick skating. And it was Ontario who found that out in Game 7.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He took that game over.
Snapping a pass to McMuffin.
You can get away with that. That's great. How far into the playoffs you can get away with one guy carrying your offense in Game 7, I guess we'll see. Possibly.
Hey, it's worked pretty good for the Thunderbirds.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
No arguments there.
In control of the puck up the wing. Shifts to the backhand and shoots.
See, those are the type of shots you're going to see a lot more of as we get into the bottom half of the third here.
Interesting, interesting play by Nasty there. He wasn't tight on the post. He wasn't even that close to it, and still made a save. And that's it's what a lot of guys take a chance on, Krok. And I'm not one of them. I tend to want to really cut down the angle and that kind of thing.
I don't think he was expecting a shot there. I think he was maybe expecting a back pass and just not playing the post tight enough. You don't expect a shot on the backhand like that. Right. I wouldn't, at least. So I don't really blame him for it.
Back to the point, shot straight on though. Nasty makes the save.
But Nasty does look very good in this game. He's square to the shooter. He looks engaged on pretty much every time they come into the zone, and really challenging at the top of his crease.
Don't want to jinx the Moose right now, but if they can win this game, I'm sure we will have the gang from Manitoba on right after
the Moose gang.
They do like to talk in post games. Lobo, quick shot on net. And now a good pass from pitcher to Nazi. Pitcher's getting more involved in the offense in this game, and I think that's a good thing. I think they need another player up there to help out, or at least get it back to the point for a few more shots. Oh, good defensive play. And
Ontario's got possession in the defensive zone.
Coming back to help out.
Getting a little discombobulated here.
Laden over the pitcher, gets a good shot on net. Puck movement a lot better.
Rampager's definitely moving around a lot right now.
Oh, JM had an opportunity to get a good shot on there and got a poke checked off. We have about 4.5 left to go in this third period. Actually, 4 minutes now. Pass out front. Oh, wide open was Skills, but he could not get a stick on it. Shot from the point is a good save there by Nasty.
Rampage needs to get somebody in front of the net for these point shots. It's too easy for Nasty right now.
Yeah, he's had lanes to be able to watch that puck come to him.
Yeah, basically untouched.
Nazi trying to fight for it, still fighting for it. Now kept in, nice play by Lobo. Can't get a shot off. Puck is loose, Lobo gets it back. Shot on, Nazi's right there, pokes it in!
No. That is not good.
Minute 6 left to go, and I think that's Nazi's goal.
Oh, that sucks. I feel so bad for the defenseman there.
Wow, interesting play, and I'm sure we're going to look at it at the end. But let's see if we can get the scoring
replay on that.
But again, getting pucks on the net and getting an opportunity for a tip-in of some kind. I think the game with Kornick in overtime last night proved that that's important.
Those are those shots. We're talking about those shots. You're going to see a lot of them. It's just really unfortunate. It goes pretty much directed into the net.
They give it to Lobo unassisted, so he must have gotten a stick on it late.
And the Rampage can't answer here.
Now it's directed to Comiskey.
Still a lot of time.
The wing possession still with him, and he drops it in deep. At this point of the game, you
back the other way come San Antonio. Good check there by Lobo. And now it looks like it was an offside before it was flipped in for an icing. So lucky play there for Manitoba to be able to do that.
Coming up is the largest play in this game so far. The largest play. It's a draw. They've got the draw.
Be nice to have no messages on the screen there. Thank you. 33 seconds left to go in this third period. San Antonio coming in. Good shot and a nice save by Nasty. Glove side, he'll hold.
Big face-off here. We talked about face-offs earlier this week. This is it.
Grammy controlled, shot on. Good glove save again by Nasty. Well positioned. 22.9 left to go. Back to the point. Throttle. Looking to get it across. Who cannot find Grammy. Intercepted. Nice play. Now back again the other way.
Strip.
Now shot. Good anticipation. Two saves in a row
save.
by Nasty.
What a save by Nasty.
Final seconds ticking down. Puck on net. Almost goes in. Nice partial deflection by Dr. Nasty. And Manitoba holds on to win Game 6 and to move on to the Calder Cup. Wow.
Exciting ending there, huh?
Wow.
It's fun.
I'm not
Dr.
sure if,
Nasty.
yeah, I'm not sure if I would have thought that this was,
If they match this one, they will be special. So
I don't know if this was something that, we expected out of this series. Again, low scoring, not a lot of shots in this game. Really played into San Antonio's favor, but again, Nazi actually gets credit for the goal, who he had his name as Lobo. So I thought it was Nazi who got it. So thanks for confusing all of us.
It's just a romance.
Nazi with the unassisted goal, the only scoring of the game here late in the game at 18:52, unassisted, as it was being fought for in the crease, and Nas got a stick on it and poked it through and scores the game winner. Wow,
And
what a finish.
Just look at the saves. Dr. Nasty just stole this game. He absolutely stole this game.
16 saves, shutout for Nasty. And again, we see a lot of low shot games that he's played well in and got 13 shutouts, but here's a shutout of 16 shots and some damn good opportunities at the end that he stopped and kept San Antonio off the scoreboard in this one.
A lot of credit to San Antonio in this series. They fought hard. They competed. They showed up and they played well. Just a good series by them, but credit to the Moose for taking it.
And they convinced me. The Rampage convinced me after that first round that they were going to try and go deep. I believed in this team, and it's just really unfortunate that that's the way it ends for them, because I feel like they did play this team good enough to deserve a Game 7.
Yeah,
but I mean that's the way it goes. And fair play to Nazi and the boys for getting a win too in a struggling playoff series.
That was a grind out win right there.
Now we're going to try and get Bert on and Nasty and some of the other guys. We'll try and do what we can to get these on right now. Get these guys on right now before we get off the air. But you can take a look at the stats here for now, and we'll endeavor to get these guys on the call here shortly. This is a final that I don't think really surprises anybody, does it?
I had the Thunderbirds making the finals, even when I was in the playoffs. I thought that they were going to go all the way. Personally, I didn't have the Moose, and I think I've bet against them pretty much the last 2 rounds in a row. So they're definitely proving me wrong, and they're going for the three-peat. So it's going to be a really good matchup. I think these teams definitely match up well against each other. I think they're both really strong defensive teams. It's going to be really interesting. Good final series. Can't ask for better than this.
I think we may have Dr. Nasty on the line here. Buddy, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, congrats on a hell of a game.
Thanks, man.
A 16-save shutout, and boy, right at the end, you had a couple of shots on you, consecutive rebound, a fat rebound that came out that you made another good pad save on. It was a quiet start to this game, but it ramped up pretty quickly in the second, and then certainly in the third. It took a lot of good goaltending by you and NJ to keep this scoreless until the very end.
Yeah, NJ had a couple of really good saves in there too. And in that last minute, they were just throwing everything on net. And I don't even know how I made some of those saves. It was just all reaction. Oh, it was crazy.
And that, we're talking about how, a low-scoring game like this is something that San Antonio is used to. And they're comfortable playing in this kind of a 0-0 game for a long time. We know how Nazi, JM, and Lobo have been fighting to get goals and good plays going. How are your guys reacting after the second period when it was still 0-0? Are you guys okay with that at that point?
We were really okay with it. We were really just looking for a win that we could grind out, like 1-0, just like we did. we were looking for a really good defense the whole time, which the defense was amazing. Shout out to everyone that was on the ice for this game. They all played amazing, but the game plan was just good defense, and we'll get a goal eventually.
Here we got Bertone on now too, and congrats to you and the rest of the Moose.
Thanks, man.
How much were you holding your breath in that game?
Oh man, a lot in both games, honestly. Even though the first one was a little better than the second one, but yeah, trust me, I'm sweating over here. I just want to thank the boys for picking me up. We're going for a call now, boys. Let's go.
And that final goal, and I don't know how much you guys got to see that, but at least for the last 5-6 minutes of that third period, it seemed like JM, Nazi, and Lobo were really starting to move the puck around a lot more. Pitcher was getting involved in the offense, the puck movement seemed a lot better than Bert. Did anything change up in the third period with this line that you know of? Is there something that they tried to do differently to open up the ice a little more?
Pretty much, like they listened to P-Swag. He told them to spread out, and they spread out. And you could tell in the third, like you just said, they definitely changed their game a bit. To have a tremendous offense against a defense like that, it's pretty much impossible. So they put out what they put out, and it's unfortunate a goal like that is how it ends it, but we're going to take it, obviously.
And now you go on to take on the Springfield Thunderbirds. And obviously we've got Traz in here as well, but I think we kind of all thought that this may be where it was going to wind up with Springfield and Manitoba. Tell me a little bit about, is this where you guys thought you'd wind up being? Did you think it was going to be Springfield, or was there another matchup that you thought might actually happen?
To be honest with you, I thought we were going to get here. I knew it was going to be a tough road, but we had the team. That's why we're here. I honestly either thought it was the T-Birds and the Marlies on that side. Unfortunately, like the series ended the way it did over there. But it's going to be a great series. I can't wait to play some of my buddies over there too.
And so, with this line again, a 1-0 win, and certainly a win is a win. But JM, Nazi, and Lobo, you watch this game. How do you feel like they reacted and they worked tonight?
I feel like they definitely step it up from the last couple outings that they've had. They played a tremendous line with a tremendous goalie and tremendous D, and they came out with the win. I have no complaints.
Well, we're going to try and take a look at this final goal here, and it was, again, you guys keeping it in. Lobo kept it in. A scramble in front. Lobo gets a shot on net. Nazi crashes, and then right behind him, also following up, is JM on the play. But again, a good opportunity where your guys really pushed in on the goal and really crashed the net, got more shots on, and it seemed like that was the big difference in that period. A lot less trying to find the lane and then just get it on. And like you said, pitcher getting more involved, spreading out the offense. It feels like maybe that's where this line needs to go. Move the puck more often, and then just try and get your defenseman to throw pucks on net.
Yeah, exactly. They just pretty much have to play like that. When one thing doesn't work, you got to try something else, and then when that doesn't work, you just keep doing it over and over. You just got to try not to get stuck in the same route, trying to do the same thing over and over. Good D and any good team's going to pick up on that.
So where do you go from here now? You guys going to try and get some practices in over the next few days. How do you prepare for the finals?
Yeah, pretty much just practice whenever. Me, Rocky, and Brian, we play a lot, like pretty much all the time. Anybody can pretty much vouch I'm with Brian all the time. But yeah, we do play pretty frequently. It's going to take a lot to get ready for these guys. We're not going to take them lightly. It's definitely a harder team coming out of the East this year.
And Nasty, again, another great series. what do you do to prepare? Do you try and take a look at a game or two, or do you feel like you understand Springfield pretty well at this point?
I don't really remember any of the games, but usually what I do is I get in, and it usually takes me like half a period to a period to find what they like to do, and then I'm usually pretty good. But I might watch a game or two, but I might just wait. I don't know.
Krok, any questions for the guys here before we let them go?
No, I mean, honestly, I think the Thunderbirds are probably going to be the. Oh, hi. How's it going? I know I'm going to take some heat for picking against you. I know it. But no, I think, I'm just excited for the next series. I think this is going to be the toughest test for the Moose so far. I think we finally have a finals where the two best teams left in the playoffs are going to play. I think the Thunderbirds are going to give them a hell of a ride, and it's going to be a really interesting series.
Yeah, if I could jump in here too, real quick. Looking forward to the finals. It's going to be great. And, you got two teams here who definitely deserve to be here. They're very, very, very well-balanced teams. Good forwards, good defense, good goaltending, good top lines. And you know what? I don't even say there's third lines. I just feel like there's two second lines. I feel like we're that deep and that balanced on both sides. So definitely looking forward to the challenge ahead, and I can't wait to get back on the ice.
All right. Well, listen, Dr. Nasty and Bertone, thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate you guys checking in, and congrats on getting to the Calder.
Thanks for having us, man.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Before I go, shout out to my boy Dreamy.
Yeah.
Yes, Dreamy. And he's back in the shot box causing trouble again as usual.
Of course.
Hey, thanks again, guys. I appreciate it. Traz, best of luck to you now in this one. We'll hopefully talk to you maybe on Sunday if you got some time. Talk to you more about the finals coming up.
Sounds good.
Krok, another fine game tonight. Thanks for helping out here, and we'll talk to you on the Sunday show, yes?
We'll see. We'll talk.
All right. Fair enough. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Everyone joining in tonight for PSN Hockey on LeagueGaming.com. For Krok and Traz, this is TSibs saying so long. You've been watching LGHLPSN Media here on LeagueGaming.com and the YouTube channel AHLPSN Playoffs right here on LeagueGaming.com. Have a good night, everyone. We'll talk to you Sunday on our weekly show.